Welcome, dear students. Myself, Professor P.B. Sargade from Sadhguru Gadge Maharaj College, Karad. And today we will discuss about the second lecture from Human Health and Diseases, the topic from biology. This is the 21st lecture of biology in our Rayat Online School Education Program. And today we will discuss about the points of vaccination, then structure of antibody, and blood groups. Now let's start with our lecture. We will today study the terminology vaccination and the various factors which are present in the vaccination. Now, what is the meaning of vaccination? The administration of vaccine, that is inactivated pathogens or antigenic protection of particular pathogens to protect against a particular pathogen, is called as vaccination. We all know this definition of vaccination, but before going to study in detail the vaccination, we have to know that what is the meaning of vaccination. The body's immune system helps to protect against pathogenic antigens and the invading agents which cause infection to the body, and this immune system is a very efficient system, and this efficient system tackles the various infections. Now the vaccination is the source from where the antibodies, they are produced inside the body of the human being to tackle the infection. The vaccination is a way to teach the immune system as to how to recognize and eliminate pathogens or pathogenic organisms. Now, the vaccinations or the vaccination, nowadays we are in this infectious disease of corona. We have going through the terminology vaccination. This vaccination is an important form of primary prevention of the disease or to tackle the pathogens that can protect people from getting sick. The vaccination has allowed us to control diseases like measles, polio, tetanus, and whooping cough that once threatened many lives. It's important that as many people as possible get vaccinated. Vaccines does not only protect the body, but they give a long-lasting effect when they are administered in a very efficient manner. Now the vaccines, how does they work? The vaccines are considered to be safe. They are rigorously tested and go through many rounds of study, examination, and research before they are used for the general public. The extensive research and evidence shows that the vaccines are safe and their side effects are rare and typically mild. How does the vaccination work? The healthy immune system defends against the invaders, that are the pathogens or any other foreign particles which are entering in the healthy body. The immune system consists of several types of cells, as we have studied in our previous lecture. These cells defend against the harmful pathogens, and these pathogens, however, they have to recognize as invader. Now remember this terminology. When these pathogens or the invading agents, they should be recognized by the body. The vaccination teaches the body to recognize new pathogens causing diseases. It stimulates the body to make antibodies against antigens. Now we have studied the terminology antigens and antibody in our previous lecture, so we know that what are antigens and what are antibodies. It also primes immune cells to remember the types of antigens, and this allows a faster response to the pathogens in the future if the infection causes again. The vaccines work by exposing you to a safe versions of pathogens. The vaccines may be in the form of, now what are the forms of vaccine? Vaccinations are safe, and the extensive research and evidences, they are seen that they are safe. But what are vaccines? Vaccines are nothing but a protein or sugar from the pathogen, or a dead or inactivated form of a pathogen, or it may be a toxoid containing toxins produced by a pathogen, or it is a weakened or attenuated pathogen. When the body responds to the vaccine, it builds an adaptive immune response, and this helps to equip the body to fight off an actual infection. And the vaccination provides the barrier or the defense mechanism, additional defense mechanism to the body. And we've come through that the vaccinations are done from the birth of the child, and the vaccines, they are safe as discussed earlier, and these vaccines again develop a barrier to the pathogens. The vaccines nowadays, they are advanced vaccines, and we found that various technologies, they are involved in the development of vaccines, and we come across the vaccines which are, we called it as second generation vaccines. And this second generation vaccines, a very good example is of hepatitis B vaccine, which is developed, and this hepatitis B vaccine is found to be very efficient against the disease. Now, this was about the vaccine and vaccination. Now we will move towards our next point, that is the structure of antibody. Now we have seen the terminology antibody. Now the structure of antibody. Now before going to study the structure of antibody, we have to know what is the antibody and the basic structure of the antibody. The antibodies are glycoproteins which are highly specific to specific antigens. Now remember, the antibodies are glycoproteins, and we all know that the pathogens or the invading agents, we call them as antigens, and antibodies are prepared by the body against them. Now they are also known as immunoglobulins. Remember, this question has asked so many times in the multiple choice questions. The antibodies are also known as immunoglobulins, or they are simply termed as IgS, produced in response to antigen stimulation. Now the stimulation is necessary for the formation of antibody. The antibodies are produced by plasma cells. Remember, the antibodies, they are produced by plasma cells, which in turn are formed by B lymphocytes. Now we have discussed this point in our previous lecture, that is the first lecture. And the mature plasma cells, they produce antibodies at an extremely rapid rate, that is about 2000 molecules per second. Remember, this much speed is there when the antibodies are formed, and it is about 2000 molecules per second. Now the next point, structure of, just a minute. Now this is the structure of antibody. The antibodies, they are Y-shaped, the capital letter of the English Y. The diagram is in front of you. The immunoglobulin molecule of antibody has 4 polypeptide chains. Now we are going to study in detail the structure of antibody. Since this is a Y-shaped molecule, or the shape is Y-shaped of the capital letter of the English, there are 2 heavy chains and 2 light chains. Now we are seeing the various arms and various chains of the antibody molecule. There are 2 heavy chains which are long ones, and 2 light chains which are smaller one. The hinge, it is the region which holds the arms and stem. Now there is the arm and stem in the main part of the antibody. The four polypeptide chains are held together by disulfide bonds, which are seen in the diagram, to form a Y-shaped structure. Now this Y-shaped structure, it is formed by, now this cursor, it shows the hinge region. Now this is the main Y-shaped structure. This is the main chain, or it is also called as heavy chain. Now the heavy chain has two parts. Now we are going to study in detail, and this is the light chain on both sides of the main heavy chains. Each chain of the antibody includes two distinct regions, the variable region and the constant region. Now here I am showing by the cursor, these are the region. Now this is in the light chain, this is the light chain, this is the region of the light chain, variable region of the light chain, it is in the anterior part, and this is the constant region of the light chain. And when we come inside the heavy chain, this is the variable region of the heavy chain, and here is the hinge, and this is the constant region, which is the basal part. This is the constant region of the heavy chain, and these chains, they are bonded together by the disulfide bonds. And this is the at the upper region, these are the antigen binding site. Now this is on the one arm and this is on the other arm. Now here the antigen, they bind to the antibody. Now when we move forward, we found that the variable regions constitute the antigen binding site, or it is called as paratop. Now there are some terminologies we have to know. The variable regions which constitute the antigen binding site, they are called as paratop. And this part of antibody recognizes and binds to the specific antigen to form an antigen-antibody complex. Since most antibodies carry two antigen binding sites, they are said to be bivalent. Now remember this point very clearly. Since this is a Y-shaped molecule, the most antibodies carry two antigen binding sites as shown in the previous diagram, and they are therefore called as a bivalent molecule. Now here in this diagram, we are going to see the formation of antigen-antibody complex. The branch which study the antigen-antibody interactions is called as serology. And as discussed earlier, the epitopes are the combining sites of antigen, and they are called as antigenic determinants. What they are called as? They are called as antigenic determinants. And the paratopes, these are nothing but the antigen binding sites which are located on the variable regions of the antibody. Each antibody is highly specific for a particular antigen. Now I will explain you this point clearly, because there are various antibodies which are developed after the various infections. Now there is a specificity in the formation of antibodies towards a particular antigen. Now these antibodies, as discussed earlier, they are highly specific for a particular antigen, and this antibody bind to specific antigen in a lock and key manner, forming an antigen antibody complex. And this antigen antibody complex is seen in this diagram on the upper right hand corner, and here the epitopes and paratopes, they play an important role, and the antigen antibody complex is formed, and the infection or the pathogens, they are tackled or they are neutralized. Okay, now next, the antigens on blood cells. Remember, we know that the blood is fluid connective tissue. It constitutes the RBCs, or we call them as red blood cells or red blood corpuscles, and white blood cells, we called it as WBCs or which are important in the defense mechanism. And antigens are present on the RBCs, and there are several known antigens on the surface of human red blood cells. The liquid part of the blood, we called it as plasma, and these antigens which give rise to different blood groups. Now, what are blood groups? There are many genetically determined blood group systems like ABO, RH, Duffy, Kidd, Lewis, P, MNS, Bombay blood group, etc. How these blood groups they were known to the human being? The blood groups were firstly discovered by the Karl Landsteiner. Now we will discuss about the ABO blood groups. The A, B and O blood groups or AB blood groups were discovered by Karl Landsteiner in 1900. Later on, the blood group AB, remember, later the blood group AB was discovered by the Landsteiner students De Castello and Sterling in 1902. Now after doing the experiment, the Landsteiner found that two antigens or agglutinogens are there on the surface of human red blood cells, and he named them as antigen A and antigen B. He also noticed the corresponding antibodies or agglutinins in the serum, which he called as A and B. ABO blood groups in the human being. Now, before going to study in detail the ABO blood group system, we have to know that this is the tabular form which is showing the ABO blood group system in the human being. Now the blood group A, now there is the defining factor of genotype in determining the blood group of the human beings. Now what are those genotypes? Then we will see the antigen on the surface of RBC, antibody in the serum, then to which person the person can donate the blood, and from which donor the person can receive the blood. Okay, now we'll start with the blood group A. Now what is the genotype of blood group A? The genotype for the blood group A, there are two genotypes that are shown here, capital IA, capital IA, or capital IA, capital IO. Now this is the homozygous and heterozygous genotypes which are responsible for the expression of blood group A. Now the antigen which is present on the surface of RBCs is the antigen A, and antibody which is present in the serum is the antibody B. And the blood group A persons, they can donate the blood to the persons having blood group A and AB, and they can receive the blood from having the blood group A and O. The blood group B in the second line, it is having the genotype, homozygous genotype IB, and the heterozygous genotype IB, IO, and the antigen on the surface of RBC is the B antigen, and the antibody present in the serum is antibody A, and this person can donate blood to blood group having blood group B and AB and can receive blood from blood group B and O. Now we will move towards the third blood group. It is the AB blood group, and this is called as the universal acceptor. So many times this question is asked in the multiple choice questions, which is the universal acceptor. So you have to write the AB blood group. This AB blood group has the genotype, it has only one genotype, IA and IB, and the antigen on the surface of RBC is antigen A and B, and there is absence of antibody in the serum. Here you can see the antibody is absent in the serum, and these persons, they can donate the blood only to the AB blood group, but they can receive the blood from blood group A, blood group B, blood group AB, and blood group O. Now we will move towards the next blood group O. It is called as the universal donor, and the genotype for it is IOIO. And the antigen on the surface of RBC, there is no antigen on the surface of RBC, but there is presence of antibody A and antibody B in the serum, and this blood group O person can donate the blood to blood group A person, blood group B, blood group AB, and blood group O, but can only receive the blood from blood group O. Now we will move towards the next point, the Rh factor. The Rh is the most complex of the blood group system, and the Rh factor is an antigenic protein present on the surface of the red blood cells in the human being. Now remember, this Rh factor was later discovered after the discovery of the ABO blood group system, and it was first discovered by again Landsteiner and Wiener in 1940 on the surface of RBCs of rhesus monkey. So it is called as Rh factor. The Rh word is taken from the first prefix of the rhesus monkey, so it is called as Rh factor. It is also called as D antigen. Now students, remember, the Rh factor is also called as D antigen. This question has asked for so many times in the MCQ questions, the D antigen or Rh factor. The person having Rh factor or D antigen are called as Rh positive person or Rh positive blood group. Remember, having Rh factor, they are called as Rh positive. Next, the lacking of D antigen, they are called as Rh negative person or Rh negative blood group. The hemolytic disease of the newborn, HDN. Now we will see the next point in this, and the hemolytic disease of the newborn, which is called as erythroblastosis fetalis. Remember, erythroblastosis fetalis, it means the destruction of erythrocytes of the fetus. It occurs when an Rh negative mother conceives Rh positive fetus. Here, the Rh positive RBCs from the fetus may enter the mother's circulatory system during childbirth, causing her to produce anti-Rh antibodies. As a result, subsequent Rh positive fetuses will be exposed to the anti-Rh antibodies produced by mother, which results in HDN. And in order to prevent HDN, Rh negative mother, remember the fact is here that the mother is Rh negative in the blood group. The Rh negative mother is injected with the anti-Rh antibody during all pregnancies carrying Rh positive fetus. Remember here the point is the mother is Rh negative and the baby or the child in the womb is Rh positive. So she is injected with the anti-Rh antibody. Now this is about and in today's lecture we have studied the vaccination, the structure of antibody and ABO blood group system and Rh factor. Here we conclude our second lecture. Thank you all of you.